For political systems to be representative, all parts of society must be included. Inclusive political participation is not only a fundamental political and democratic right, but is also crucial to building stable and peaceful societies. When young people are disenfranchised or disengaged from political processes, a significant portion of the population has little or no voice or influence in decisions that affect their lives. Stay tuned as we discuss the role of youth in political stability with Dr. Chris MUSTAPHA NWAOKOBIA Jr. Hello and welcome to Break It Down, where we make matters of policy, societal issues, governance and development easily understood by all. Today I have a lawyer, an activist, a social commentator, a former presidential candidate, the highly cerebral Professor Chris NWAOKOBIA Jr.
My pleasure.
So exciting to be in your presence again.
My pleasure to be here.
It's been like 15 years since I last spoke with you on TV.
Well, I'm here and doing what I should do to make society right, and proper.
Let's look at the Nigerian youths. Why should Nigeria pay attention to its youth at this particular moment?
Let me say clearly that the age of youth is the age of activity. The age of youth is the age of action. The age of youth is the age of passion. And so any society that undermines her youth is a society that's primed for failure. And that's why Nigeria, whether we like it or not, must pay attention to that demography that is largely the largest in our population equation, if you like. I believe that, like every other society, Nigeria must look youthward. I believe, like every other society in the 21st century, it has to be youth o'clock, if you like. And what I mean simply is that the Nigerian youth in several fields and sectors have shown competency and capacity, have shown passion and determination, have shown dedication and commitment. And I say this advisedly, before the revolution of the banking sector, the old had the conventional way of doing things, but it was young men. Remember the Guaranteed Trust Bank revolution. Remember, they were young men in their 30s and 40s. They stood up and said, never ever again. It has to be business unusual, business done differently. And the 21st century, I remember very recently when my young daughter was graduating from Redeemers University, and the person who came to the university as a visitor is the serving Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. And we met, they said, Chris, what are you doing here? And I said, my daughter is here graduating. He said, young boy like you. I said, well, Daddy, that's not what it is. But you know what? I said to him that this administration must think about the youths. Because very recently, my daughter looked at me in the face and said, our generation knows everything. And he wondered why they would say they know everything.
They say they know everything. Do they really know everything?
Yes, they do. It was until I asked my young daughter, what do you mean? And he said, ask me any question and give me 2 minutes. I'll give you an answer to that question. And I said, what do you mean? He said, what you do not know about Google, we know. There's no question you ask me, Daddy, that I can't give you an answer to in 2 minutes. And that's how versatile, if you like, this generation of young people are. So they've come to a point where, and that is the challenge of our nation, where we must interrogate leadership vis-a-vis youth inclusiveness, youth impactation, and youth impact.
they think they know everything, or they say they know everything, and from what you have said and from statistics, they form the larger demography, in population, yet they are not in charge of anything, or hardly in charge of anything politically. Why have they not found this political relevance when, well, in quotes, they know everything?
The tragedy of our nation is the tragedy of our nation. We have a leadership that is largely scared of the role and impact of young people in governance. We have a society that is largely unwilling to try new ideas. We have a leadership that is largely non-committal, if you like, in involving and incorporating the young people in leadership. And I think that what we must do as a people and as a nation is to begin to challenge leadership to look youthward. I talked about the revolution in the banks, and I'm talking about young entrepreneurs who are doing awesome things. And I think that the time has come for government and leadership to think of them. Look at what happened a few months ago with the End SARS protestation, if you like. You find out that not only are they saying it's time to involve us, we're no longer involved in accepting the cliche that says that youths are the leaders of tomorrow. We want to be leaders of now. And then look at the challenge that brought to bear the Not Too Young to Run bill. And I think that what is largely important is that leadership must understand that the time to think about young people in leadership is now.
But they say power is taken, is not given. When we look at technology and other sectors, our youths are doing great. They're doing fine. But and it's only in politics, I think, that they're lagging behind. And you have just said that maybe the leaders are not allowing them. Is it that the leaders have not allowed them, or they are just not showing interest, or there's apathy of some sort on their part when it comes to politics?
Conspiracy. Conspiracy of the elite. Conspiracy of the old. Conspiracy of the entrenched political leaders. That's what it is. It's not about, we've had a few young men who rose to become governors. Some did pretty well, some didn't do very well. But it's all about a conspiracy, and I'll tell you why. We live in a country where the biggest business in Nigeria is politics. And if you allow the youths take control the way they should, that means that those who see politics as their retirement benefit will lose out. So what they do is rather recruit unpatriotic, less than committed, and less than intellectually sagacious young men as leaders. The very few...
Sagacious.
The very few...
Can we break it down, please?
The very few who are aware, who are enlightened, who are smart, who are committed, they don't want them. I remember that just after the 2015 elections, so many people felt I was a threat. I remember that, frankly and simply, I told them that we can actually unite Nigeria and de-emphasize our ethnic differences and religious differences. And some thought I was a threat. And there was a conspiracy that saw that in 2015, not one appointment was given to me. That's what they've done to a lot of young people. And so what we're saying is, and that's why I salute the effort of young people in the End SARS protests. They woke up and said, never ever again. And then in the movement, Samson Itodo and a few young men, Tony Nwulu and co., who said, it must be not too young to run. And that's how collectively they pulled the pressure on leadership and the National Assembly and got to a point where they slashed 5 years out of the age of someone whoever is competent to become president. Now the electoral law provides for 35 years for the age of anybody who wants to be president. And that's young people taking the initiative. I think that what we must do is, rather than judge the young people harshly, we must tell the old that it's time to think about the competency and the capacity of young people in Nigeria is now. Because all over the world, Moji, all over the world, the Nigerian young people have shown unrivaled, unequaled, matchless competency and capacity, such that I'm so proud, not only to be a Nigerian, but to celebrate and salute what our young people are doing. Look at what they've done with creativity and entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, our fathers, the great Abamiada and co, tried and did their best, but they never got a Grammy. Look at young boys in their 20s, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and look at the creativity of their music. Travel around the world, go to a club and an entertainment center, and you hear Nigerian music everywhere. That's the creativity of youth. Then look at what they're doing with the internet and the social media. Amazing. And I think that the country must begin to understand that these young boys are able to proverbially turn water to wine. And we must therefore involve them in the leadership of this country.
Let's really concentrate on politics now. You were very, very young when your name was heard all over the country. When I even Googled a few days ago, I was like, wow, how young were you? We were all young, but maybe that was why we clearly forgot that you did this. You were so bold, you were so brave. You took on the system while you were so very young. And then before too young to run became the norm, you ran. At what age? 40?
That was 40.
You were 40. Tell us about the challenges for you then. Let's just quickly rush through that.
Humbly, let me say, Moji, that I started all this when I was 18.
Wow.
I was in the University of Nigeria, a student of law, when a fire, something snapped in me, and it was all about public good. It was all about society. It was all about how to make just our system. And from those days in the university came the effort and the activity, and Providence got me involved in the June 12 and Hope 93 efforts. In 1993, I was 21, just to be 22, when Chief M.K. Abiola got us involved in the youth mobilization for his presidency. Since then, it's been one major bout with government after another. But what has chiefly been the underlying phenomenon is love for society and public good. And I say boldly that I found out that a whole lot of young people actually do care about our country. And the reason our country have not had sit-tight leaders like you have in Uganda, like you had in Kenya, like you had in Benin Republic, was that the Nigerian people, the young boys, in NUNS, National Union of Nigerian Students, and then later NAS, National Association of Nigerian Students, refused to allow sit-tight leaders. I have told people repeatedly that I am not one of those who think that Nigerian youths are docile. They've always been effectively proactive in challenging leadership for what is proper, right, and right. In 2011, at the age of 40, just before I was 40, I decided to run for president because of a passion and commitment. I think I pioneered what became the philosophy that metamorphosed into the not too young to run bill. Because, and I remember in 2011 when I chose to run for president, a lot of young friends of mine came to me and said, "Are you this crazily ambitious? How can you do it?" And I said, "I'll do my best."
And a lot of people believed.
Yes,
in you.
it did amaze me, because eventually we were able to travel through 33 of the 36 states of Nigeria. We were received across the country. And for those who believe in separatism, it was that experience that killed every fire about separatism in me. I found out that Nigerians are united both in spirit and passion. I found out that the only thing that is our problem is that we have leaders who drum up ethnicity and religion to divide us for personal good. I am therefore committedly Nigerian. I do not believe in separatism. I believe that what we must do is to challenge leadership to responsible and responsive action. And that is why, if you like, so many of my friends have called me and said, is your activism ending in the support of a young man like Yaya Bello for president? And I said to them, the young man believes in what I believe. One great Nigeria centered on justice, equity, and fairness.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll take a break now. We're still talking role of youth in political stability. And when we come back, we'll be looking at how really prepared is the Nigerian youth to take over the baton. Hey, welcome back to Break It Down, and I'm still with the erudite, the very brainy, highly cerebral Professor Chris Mustapha NWAOKOBIA, and we're discussing the role of youth in political stability. I just said, are the youths really ready to take over the baton from the old guard?
Are they ready? Yes, they are. Are they working enough at it? Yes, they are. Can they get it? Yes, they can. And I'll say this advisedly. We've seen within the past 4 years a progressive effort of the Nigerian youth to take leadership. In 2014, 2015, quite a lot of us got involved in the politics of the APC and indeed the PDP, as well as other parties. And then interestingly, in 2019, we saw quite a plethora of young people who said, we want to be president. Yeah. I think at some point it was about 12. Fela Durotoyes of this world. Mogalu is not such a young. We talk about, there's this other one, The Economist, who's my friend. Then we saw quite a few women who said they wanted to be president. There was a young man who, by age, was exactly the age I was when I ran in 2011, Ahmed Buhari, and then Tope Fashoa, and quite a lot of them said they wanted to be president. And my refrain was, I asked them, I said, do you know how much it will take you to make posters across Nigeria? I remember that in 2011, it cost me over 300 million for posters alone. You know, so I said to them, running for president is not just a piece of cake or a walk in the park. But interestingly, consistently, young people said, it has to be a new generation, a new republic. And then you saw the movement for the Not Too Young to Run bill. Now, are the young people ready to take over leadership come 2023? The answer is yes. That is where, passionately, and I say this without fear of querulous critic, passionately, I say this without bothering about what darts they throw, that the youngest governor in the saddle today, the governor of Kogi State, my friend and brother, can do it. And there are a lot of young people who also can do it.
That lies the problem, because if you go through the social media and you throw these names, even your Yaya Bello, you throw Durotoye, you throw the other names, and the same youths come around to say, no, we won't allow that happen. No, it won't happen. And you just wonder, sometimes I ask them, then who do you want?
Let me make you laugh, Moji. Some young people actually believe that, oh, the money bags are still the old. And so they masquerade behind selfish inclination in doing a score, a wrong score on people like Durotoye, Tope Fashoa, my brother and friend Sowore, and then indeed my brother and friend Yaya Bello. But I think that the time has come, and that's my appeal to Nigerians, to rather than jump into conclusions, make your inquiries. That's why you have the internet. That's why you have the social media. I do sincerely believe that having tried the old for so long, I remember one thing my father told me, and I've held on tenaciously to it. He said to me, Dumebi, which is my native name, if you try a particular process for too long, not with the fear of failure. Damn the fear of failure and try something different. In our democratic voyage at the center, we've tried so much of the old. Indeed, we got back an Obasanjo for 8 years, who had served as a military ruler. We got back a Buhari, and he's doing about 8 years now, who had served as a military ruler. For fear of failure, why not just try something new? And I think that that's why that hero of mine, a mentor of mine, my late dad, resonates. I would rather have a CNC that I can call out, and nobody will say, oh, you're being rude. I want a CNC who's a young man that I can face in the media and say, you aren't doing right. This is not the promise you made to Nigerians. And so I think that the Nigerian young man should leave, the young people out there, should leave the question of throwing darts and begin to mobilize around young tendencies in leadership so that we can have, come 2023, leaders who can call out and ask questions.
How are you going to form a wholesome unit of Nigerian youths at this point when everybody, every one of them thinks he knows more than the other, even knows more than his grandfather, grandparents,
but you see why I respect you. Sitting in front of you and doing this interview evokes a nostalgia. You always know how to bring out the best in people. NSAS was a huge success. NSAS taught the world a lesson in proactive protestation. Americans referred to it in the George Floyd protestation. British people referred to it in debates regarding the consummation, if you like, of the Brexit. The world is looking at it and studying it across, because young people, until they were provoked by state agents, sat together in unity in Ikeja, in Surulere, at the Lekki toll gate, in one call, saying no to police brutality, saying it, they demand a new republic in terms of accountability of state agents. And across the country, whether you like it or not, Moji, states set up committees and commissions to look at police brutality. Yeah. And across the nation, compensations have been paid to families of the brutalized. And so anybody who comes to say that NSAS was a failure is being intelligent by half. It's been unfair to the young people who taught Americans, who taught the British, who taught the world an example in protestation. That's a commitment of these young people. And I think that what we ask of them is to translate this camaraderie, this bond, this oneness, this unity, this love into to politics. The political contestation of 2023. If they do that, I tell you, the two major political parties, the APC and the PDP, as well as others, will put before us young people for the presidency. You have used two keywords during the course of this interview: conspiracy of the leaders, and you have used money bags. These two combined, will they ever allow youth, the youth unity to even make any impact in politics? Never say never. I grew up also with that phraseology. I was told by my dad one day to look up the word will in the dictionary, Advanced Learner's Dictionary. And I looked up the word, W-I-L-L, will. And the example that I got stuck. And I think that was when I laughed. Daddy should have just given me that example. He said, where there's a will, there's a way. I believe that the time has come for the Nigerian young people, and I'm speaking directly to the young people out there. The time has come for you to believe that you can. When you believe, then the journey is half done. It was Abraham Lincoln who said that if you ask me to cut a tree, I'll take 4 hours to sharpen the knife, and I'll come on the tree. I believe that the time has come for us young people between now and 2023 to begin to work together, to begin to unite. Rather than agonize, we must work together, unite, activate all collective platforms into moving a message for a new deal. I do not believe that Nigeria will be better divided. I believe that Nigeria will be better united. I believe that God has blessed this country with amazing munificence and riches ineffable. I believe that the God who runs the human pilgrimage is with us in the journey for a new Nigeria. And I also believe that the abilities and the competency of the Nigerian youth is unequaled and unrivaled. So whether they be money bags, whether they conspire in their sitting rooms and in their bedrooms, you have the highest demography. About 70% of voter population are young people. So rather than fight each other, young boys, young girls must rise up and ask for a new republic where together we can etch a new deal for the masses of our country. We know where it hurts us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching Break It Down this week. We'll be back same time next week. This is Break It Down.